In this episode, we're going to cover what the senior management team of a business looks like. When starting out in business, like you are right now, there's normally one or maybe two people involved. These are the entrepreneurs at the heart of the business. They founded the business, and these are the people who will be doing everything within the business to start with. Ideation is done by them. Planning the strategy is done by them. Creating the product is done by them. Creating the supply chain, it's done by them. Managing cash is done by them. Planning the marketing, it's done by them. And the list goes on and on. But if your business grows to a certain size, your time will become more and more limited. And there may be a need to hire more people to help you in the business in key areas to ensure that your business grows to its full potential. And that certain size, the time at which you need support, can be measured in lots of ways, including sales, the number of people who work in the business, or maybe even the value at which your investors bought into your business. But most businesses of a certain size adapt a fairly standard management structure in which key people are given key responsibilities for key areas of the business. Let's take a look at what a typical management team would look like. Young Entrepreneurs Academy reckon that the top 6 roles in the management team are as follows: CEO, CFO, COO, CMO, CSO, and CTO. Wow, that's a lot of C's. But what on earth does the C stand for? Well, the C in these titles stands for Chief. And that means that all of these people are the chiefs of parts of the business. And because of the C in all of these titles, this group of people are often referred to as the C-suite. The C-suite comprises the leaders in all key areas of the business. The CEO is the Chief Executive Officer. The CEO is the big cheese and has responsibility for everything that happens within the entire business. And to begin with, that's going to be you. The CEO will have responsibility for everything, including the product, sales, strategy, supply chain, and of course finance. It's a pretty big role, and it comes with loads of responsibility and different challenges. But the CEO needs support from other people, and that's where the roles of the other C-suite executives come in.
All of the other C-suite executives report into the CEO, in exactly the same way as the teachers at your school report into the head teacher, the boss. These members of the senior management team, the SMT or C-suite executives, will be working as a team to help you, the CEO, grow the business in the way that you intend. And it's also pretty helpful on occasion for the CEO to blame members of the C-suite for things that didn't go to plan. CFO stands for Chief Finance Officer, and the CFO has responsibility for all of the finances within the business, and this role is sometimes known as the Finance Director or even FD. The CFO is a pretty important role, and they're responsible for pulling together all of the numbers and of course preparing the financial statements. But CFOs quite often get involved in lots of other tasks around the business. Most CFOs will have originally trained as an accountant, and it's very common for the CFO or FD to be the most trusted member of the CEO's senior team. COO stands for Chief Operating Officer, and they have the responsibility of all of the operations within a business. These operations won't only include everything related to the supply chain, but then also include other areas such as insurance, IT, legal matters, regulation, and even hiring and firing your team. The COO needs to be highly organised and effective at getting things done. They can drive a huge amount of value in a business if they know what they're doing and can certainly help to avoid the risks of operational problems. CSO stands for Chief Sales Officer, or as they're more commonly known as Sales Director. And as the name suggests, they have the responsibility for all of the selling that the business does. sales directors or CSOs are usually good with people, because after all, their primary responsibility is finding new customers and selling to them. And you can often spot a future sales director. It's the mate who's always trying to flog something to you: bracelets, sweets, sneakers, headgear, whether it's inside or outside school rules. The CMO, or Chief Marketing Officer, is another member of the C-suite, and they have the responsibility for marketing. And the CMO will have a deep understanding of marketing and the customer acquisition strategy. The CMO will be the person that understands what a typical customer looks like, what the customer acquisition costs are, and how that compares to lifetime value. The CMO will normally work very closely with the sales director or CSO, and will have a very close eye on data. CTO stands for Chief Technology Officer, and the CTO has responsibility, again as the name suggests, for all of the technology across the business. This person is the same as the teacher at your school who manages all of the tech, and is the person that's called and blamed when things go wrong. The internet fails. It's their fault. The systems crash. It's their fault. Passwords don't work. It's their fault. But while the CTO may be blamed for a lot of things when they go wrong, the reality is that they are often an essential part of the C-suite, as we all know that technology is becoming a more and more important part of any business. Knowing the names and roles of all the people in the C-suite is certainly not essential for success in this course, or in fact in business. And it's really amazing to see so many different C-suite roles emerging as the business world changes. New C-suite titles are emerging every day, such as CAIO, the Chief AI Officer, who oversees AI strategy and implementation. Or even more recently, the CRO, the Chief Remote Officer, who ensures the smooth remote work operations and hybrid workforce management. So for now, don't get too hung up on knowing all of the C-suite titles, but do be aware that most large organizations will have an organization structure that's headed by the CEO and includes a number of C-suite members that will provide support to them in key functions across the business.
It is so important to have the right team that understands your vision, because if you don't have that team, things will go south. Things will end up not working out the way you want. Everybody needs to be on the same page. Well, for me, I look for people that are better than me at everything.
It's super important to have the right people. They have to understand their job, they have to understand the trends, and they are constantly in a client-facing position, so they are an extension of our business.
For me, it's number one over absolutely everything.
You are only as good as your team. If you try to run a business on your own, it's very difficult. If you try to scale a business on your own, it's even harder.
I think having the right team in place is super important. It affects the whole culture of your business, but also the success of your business.
Having the right team in place is perhaps the most critical thing. So at this stage right now, we're bringing in a chief people officer because we've got over 60 people in the business, and they need to be managed in a much more high touch, higher focus way, and we need the right person to come in and do that.
When you're a service business, your people make your business. Their advice, their knowledge, the way they act is so important because it's a client-facing role.
We've asked our teams this: what is an organisation? It's really a collection of people and things that have a common goal. How important are the people? They're critical. Even if we had all the things that we wanted in the world, all the ingredients, all the tools, without people to run the company and make our delicious cakes, we'd be absolutely nowhere. People are a critical ingredient to any company.
So that brings us to the end of episode 17 on the senior management team. And next episode, we're going to cover companies, how you can put a business within them, and how you can get your money out.